Hello, welcome to the E09 Show. I'm your host, John Maloney. In this episode, we may not have regulars, but either way, let's go with the flow. As for our guest, he is from Melbourne, Australia, and he is an expert on growth. But what kind of growth exactly? Well, ladies and gentlemen, I give you William Cook.
Hey everyone, I'm Will. I am a community growth expert. I work for a number of online communities and I'm excited to be here.
Fabulous. So, how's life?
Life's good. Chugging along, things going smoothly, planning holidays. Not too much though. Not too much going on. Just carrying along. We're in quarter two now of the year, so things are really ramping up for 2023.
Okay. And what you been up to recently?
Look, I'm a university student as well, so I wear a lot of different hats. Mostly I've been working on assignments for uni, and then kind of more on the growth side. I've been doing a lot of content marketing recently, so working with companies to produce content for them, especially in the kind of the community growth field, because we're really looking at trying to encourage more businesses to build online communities. Is a really great way for their customers to find them. So that's really what I've been working on recently, as well as just the days in and days out of running an enterprise.
Fabulous. And what inspired you to get into the knowledge of community growth?
Good question. I originally I got so the way I started getting into community was back in probably like 2017. I signed up for Discord because one of my friends was using it, and I kind of came across like these online communities and how powerful these online spaces can be, and how they can have an impact on businesses, but also during such things as COVID, when we're all locked down, we can't go out. Online communities really became the norm of how we communicate. So whether it was a Zoom chat, a Facebook Messenger group, a text chat, any one of those things, online community really kind of helped everyone stay connected. And we're really seeing as well, people are still taking advantage of it because you're very limited to what you can do with an in-person community, whereas you have a lot more people you can reach out to with an online community that you can't reach out to in an in-person one. So we're really seeing online communities make a big dent in the internet, and they're going to be they may be one of those trends such as AI or crypto that comes out in the next few years. So I joined Discord. I got involved in the kind of these communities. I joined this kind of what we call a community of practice, which is essentially a community of community professionals. So I joined that, met a whole lot of people through that. And that's kind of how I got into the whole field. I started working with other communities to help, how we can help grow them, how we can optimize it, how we can make the kind of the user experience as best as possible. So that's really how I got into it. And then I started looking at other platforms and other communities of practice. So with other businesses that do similar things.
Fabulous. And do you have any other knowledge in space or anything else in general?
I do. I do work in the kind of social marketing field. So looking at organic growth, paid growth, copy, content. I'm currently studying a diploma of social media marketing, so I'm about a third of the way through it so far. So that's coming along well. So I think that really helps in kind of the community space, especially because you can study traditional marketing, but that looks at very traditional stuff. So that will look at things like user research, traditional advertising such as print, whereas the social media diploma really focuses on growth using things like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, kind of where the more community spaces rather than building ideas of product or looking at how can we promote a shop or something like that. It really focuses a lot more on the social media side of things. So that's kind of one of the hats I wear. I also have a diploma of leadership marketing, which I finished last month. and I'm studying law and cybersecurity at my university. So that's kind of the field I'm looking into working in one day. So probably something in consumer affairs. I don't know yet. That's really just what I'm chugging along at the moment.
I love it. And do you have any tips for people who want to grow themselves on social media or with any community for that matter?
Yeah. So I think when it comes to online community growth, it's very platform specific. So if you're building a community on Instagram, it's going to be different from how you do it on Discord or Reddit or vice versa. I think primarily my platform's Discord. So I'll give kind of the core fundamentals of any community. A referral program that always does very well, but you got to have members to start off with. A great way to start getting members into a community is if you already have some sort of following, such as an email newsletter, Instagram, Twitter. You can always plug it on those channels, and encourage your followers to come join the conversation over on your Discord server, or subreddit, or forum, or whatever it might be. So that's kind of really the main way I think of community growth. You can also look at the paid advertising options because when it comes to things like Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, organic growth is becoming a lot more harder because these platforms rely on advertising to fund them. And you can see with things like Twitter right now, they've recently made it so you have to buy Twitter Blue to be able to advertise. So that's an extra cost you have to add on with it. But you really want to advertise just where your audience is. So if it's a gaming, well, I don't want to say gaming because that's a very general community. If it's a Star Wars community, for example, you may want to find Star Wars subreddits or Star Wars Instagram page and see if you can collab to kind of share your communities there. I guess in terms of, in a more broader sense, looking at personal growth, just, have a go, embrace being different. I was actually thinking about that this morning. I was like, I enjoy being different from my peers because if everyone's the same, well, it gets a bit boring. And if you have to kind of just follow your own path. People, I don't like to give advice too much on this because I think it's very much individual specific. You do what works for you. There's no point in, following your idol if it doesn't work for you. So, waking up at 5 a.m., going on a 400-kilometer run, doing half an hour of meditation in the morning, I'm going to say most people that's not really ideal, especially if you're going to work 8 hours, you got to sleep, you got to eat. You got to just do what works for you for the most part and just keep taking things one thing at a time. Seek help if you need it, but beyond that, I think it's up to everyone to do what works for them. So yeah, those are my kind of tips on that.
Fabulous. And what apps do you use most often?
Oh, that's a good question. I've got my phone here so I can actually check. For the most part, like social apps, I'll use like Discord, Reddit. Those kind of more work, but then I use Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat. Like for work socials, I use like Slack, Instagram. I mean, not Slack, LinkedIn, Twitter. Banking apps I use a lot. Keep track of things, messaging apps, Telegram and stuff. Spotify I love. I love my calendar and to-do list. So Google Calendar and Todoist.com is what I use. Great tools for keeping everything in sync. Outlook for emails. Love Outlook. I love Microsoft in general. Firefox is a favorite as well for web browsing. I do like Chrome though because I like Chrome's ability to have multiple kind of personas. So occasionally I will use Chrome. And just banking apps really. So investment apps, banking apps, and a few other miscellaneous apps like news and document editing and stuff like that. I don't use all that many apps on my phone, not that much. I have a Galaxy tablet I use a bit more. But for the most part I stick to kind of the main apps. So things like Trello, to-do list, calendar, socials. Those are really what I use the most. And I also I use like different because I have a Google Pixel. So I don't have anything Apple. I just use I'm a more of an Android fanboy. I prefer the range of collection you can have, but I use different like pages or like what they call like where you swipe from across and you get different pages and you can have different apps. So I separate them based on kind of personal work, uni, other work, etc., etc.
Oh, okay, that's cool. And in a world where the internet doesn't exist, what would you do with that time? What would you do with the time that you would normally spend the time on the internet if the internet didn't exist?
That is a very hard question to say because I have when I was I forgot how I think when I was like 6 or 7 we first got the internet here. Before that, I don't think we. I don't remember. I was very young back then, so I don't recall what we did. But whenever like I feel like I started like um kind of growing up to the point where I start developing independence. That's when I started using technology. So I haven't really had a world without it. Like I have so many friends on it that I talk to daily. Uh, it helps manage my life significantly. I try not to use paper or anything like that at all. I have try to have everything digitalized, just so if I'm on the go, I can access it anywhere. Same with calendars. I will say my parents prefer using a paper calendar, but I feel like it's really inconvenient. If you leave it at home, you can't see what's going on. You got to carry it with you. You can't send people calendar invites with a physical calendar. The only thing I will say about them is that if the internet goes down, you can still use it. But the thing with the internet, it's pretty robust nowadays. It's lots of redundancy, whereas your house is probably more likely to catch on fire and destroy the calendar before the internet dies. Uh, I do have hobbies outside of what I do on the internet. I like to read. Um, I'm a slow reader, but before bed I'll read. I'm working on Obama's book. I forgot the name of it now. And that's a good book. I'm about halfway through it. It's very interesting about his time as president. I also what else do I like to do? I do a lot of I like to socialize outside of at uni. That's always good fun. I like kayaking. Occasionally, I'll do kayaking. Uh, Outdoor things like that. Hiking is a good one. Camping as well. I do really do like camping. It's very zen environment. It's very calming thing. You're not restricted by devices. And when you actually go away, in terms of like you go to a place that has no internet reception, it's really just nice because you're away from all the notifications, all the emails, all the pings. You can just chill with other people, and there's no kind of expectation to be checking. You can't check, so it's not like you can be stressed out about things. So it was very very nice and relaxing. Camping, yeah. I really only got back into it this year. I used to do it back in high school, go on school camps and stuff, but since then I didn't really get into it. So one of my friends, they're an avid camper, so they invited me earlier this year, and I've been on 2 of their camps so far. So that's been pretty good. Other than that, though, I like reading the news. It's always interesting to see what's up to date, staying up to date with what's going on, not just domestically, but also abroad. I much prefer following the US stuff. It's much more interesting than what happens in Australia. We're pretty boring when it comes to politics. It's mostly about money and economics and things like that. So that's really kind of what I do outside of the internet. I'm not too artsy. Not really into arts and craft. I do like Lego. It's always something I've liked, but it's very expensive and it's very time consuming as well. So yeah, that's kind of what I do outside of the internet.
Fabulous. That's a lot of things to do, and I
Yeah.
reached that.
Yeah.
So, if you could live anywhere in the world, where would it be?
Oh, I kind of like it here, but at the same time, I feel like I like to live somewhere where the summers aren't as hot, or it's just consistently like cool because I'm really bad with really cold weather or really hot weather. Um, I really like in like Celsius. I like a solid like 16 degrees is where I'm at. Um, that's the kind of temperature I'm comfortable at. So honestly, like the UK wouldn't be bad. I have a lot of friends from there. It's a pretty cool place. I'm actually traveling there starting next year. I'm doing a bit of a Europe trip, but the UK, it's very similar to Australia. So I think it's not like the US where um, medical stuff and things are out of whack, and it's it's not it doesn't get as hot as Australia. I think. Like I mean, I'm down in Melbourne, so we're one of the most southern spots in Australia. So it's pretty cool here compared to the north, but it can still get pretty hot in the summer. It can be pretty and not very nice. So probably the UK, maybe like maybe Scotland. I don't know. Somewhere around there would be good, especially as well because it's a better time zone than Australia. Because Americans, we have to see them in. We only have them in like the early hours of the morning. Then Europe, we have in like the evening. So trying to schedule things is a bit tricky. So the UK would be good because then you have all of Europe as well. It's like you want to travel to another country, hey, just hop on a train. Whereas here, it's like you got to fly at least 5 hours to get to another country. And the closest, I mean, like the closest place to me is like New Zealand. That's like 4 hours. Um, so I really do like Europe's train system. I think it's very ingenious as well. It makes getting around a lot easier. Then I guess you have to remember Australia is a massive place at the same time. And train travel around here isn't all that uh, developed. So yeah, I'd probably the UK. Only complaint is that train travel in the UK is extremely expensive. Um, I've been complaining to my friends because I've been telling them about how I'm coming across. I've been saying, why do you all decide to privatize the train system? It should just be like, government run. But that's that.
Yeah, I suppose so. In fact, the UK is like the opposite. It's currently privatized, but they want it to like government run because I think, in their opinion, government run railway is much better than privatization. I think there's this one railway in like the East Coast somewhere. It hasn't done very well the last few years. And during the times it was under government control, it was doing really good. But the moment it gets re-privatized again, it does, well, very poorly.
Yeah, I think the main thing really is like here, because it's owned by the government. It's pretty cheap to use. Like it'd be only a few dollars, depending on where. Like in Victoria, where I am, we have what we call V line, which is basically kind of like. So we have the metro like train system. So you have like the London Tube system. Then we have V line, which is kind of like Virgin trains that travel all over the country. And I think with those are only like a few dollars to use now. Whereas you go to the UK, it's like £120 to catch one of those trains, and it's very expensive.
Yeah, absolutely. If you were given 500 acres of land, what would you use it for?
Thing is, I don't want to live out too rural because then it's hard to get access to services. But 500 acres is a lot. Um, Honestly, I don't think I'd bother developing it much. Maybe I just like keep it how it is, kind of thing. Maybe build a house, nice house. Um, but beyond that, I don't think I wouldn't bother developing it any further. I wouldn't be really interested in running a farm or a wildlife thing. Um, yeah, just make a house. That's about it. I wouldn't do anything special. I wouldn't
Okay.
make a factory or anything. Maybe I'd make units and like sublet it out. Capitalism, yeah, but yeah.
Yeah, I suppose so. I would have built a whole new city with that land.
Yeah, I guess if money was no object.
Yeah. What weird food combinations do you really enjoy?
Uh oh. Pineapple pizza's pretty good. Though I prefer margarita over it. Um what else? That's the only thing I can think of really. Um yeah, I can't actually think of anything else. Just pineapple pizza's like people think's weird, but then it's becoming a bit mainstream, but I don't know, it's very individual specific. Um I can't think of really anything else. Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. What's your favorite season?
Winter.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
What is the most comfortable piece of clothing you own?
Oh, my tracksuit pants and my uh like t-shirt and hoodie. Um, I have a range of hoodies though. I like my Weebill community hoodie. I also like my Discord hoodie that I have on right now. Those are pretty comfortable. It's what I wear most days as well because it's like unless I have something like important on, I just wear that.
Okay. If you had a song for every time you enter the room, what song would that be?
Ooh, um, I'm no good with song names. I will like one of my favorite songs is like Hall of Fame. It's always been a favorite. What else though? Favorite. Hmm. I'm gonna just say Hall of Fame. That's one of my favorite songs. It's a good one as well.
Okay, cool. What kind of music do you often listen to?
Uh I think like kind of electronic and pop.
Ah, same.
Yeah.
How did you spend your last birthday?
It wasn't that long ago. Went out for lunch. That was about it, really. Went had the family over. Yeah, I don't do big things for birthdays. I just chill for the most part.
Okay. Yeah, I chill too as well. If you could get an exotic pet, what kind of a companion would you like to have?
Wombats are pretty cool. I will say. I don't know if they're exotic though, but they're pretty cool. They're a pretty cool Australian animal. Um, so I think yeah, a wombat if I had to pick one.
Cool. Do you like spicy food?
Nah, I can't handle spice at all. I can do very very mild spice, but beyond that, it's too much. Too much.
Okay, I understand.
Yeah, even the non-spicy option sometimes is still pretty spicy for me. I have very low uh, tolerance for spice.
Okay. If you could travel back in time, which decade would you like to live in?
I really liked like the end of the 1800s. Like the Red Dead Redemption 2 time was like I love that game, and it was really pretty. It was a really cool time. We had the Industrial Revolution coming upon us, and it was like everyone just traveled around in horses. It was pretty. It was pretty cool. I'd love to go back to like kind of like 1890 kind of thing, before we had the world wars and kind of when uh, things were all coming together to make the modern world as we know it today.
All right. And this is a question that just came from the top of my head. Have you ever thought about if you have the experience of coding and back end front engine whatever,
Yeah.
what kind of application would you want to develop?
Oh, good question. I mean, I will say I'm not a fan of programming. Like it's all right, but I prefer to leave to other people. I don't like I can like part of my course requires it, so there's parts of it that we've done coding and stuff like programming. Um, ooh, I'd like to make a really nice website just with like a just like not a specific idea, but just like being able to build like a nice like interactive website, something that like kind of I don't know what it will do, but just like something that make accounts. Yeah, it's a bit hard to think of right now. Um, I'd have to sit down and think about if I could really think about making something. Um, I mean, like there are ideas we have, but they're like a bit trade secrets. So yeah. I did back in high school. We had to do it for my final year when I did software development as one of my subjects. We had to make a project, and I made I made a program called TenderX, and it was basically a website that essentially allowed you to submit projects and people could like bid on them and stuff. So I was pretty impressed with that site. I thought it was pretty cool. I didn't continue it on though, but it was still an enjoyable project.
All right then, sounds good. Would you rather sleep on the wall or sleep on the ceiling?
I haven't thought about that. I mean, on the space station, they sleep on the wall, so I guess that.
Okay, that's a good option.
Yeah. The only issue as well with like sleeping on the ceiling as well is that you can have circulation issues doing that because if you get a lot of pressure at the front of your body, can cause issues.
Oh yeah, okay. I can see that. Do you have any pets?
Yeah, I have a dog. Her name is Papa. She's a Bichon.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Who is the funniest person you've met?
Oh, there's a guy at uni who's pretty funny. I won't say his name though. But he's pretty good. Cracks lots of political jokes. He actually rang me yesterday, going on about some bill they were trying to pass, in the Senate, but there were issues with it. But yeah, he's pretty funny.
Okay, that's cool. What is something people are always surprised to learn about you?
Oh, I guess if it's coming from if it's coming from a uni perspective, it'll be that like kind of what I do outside. So the community sector, people are very intrigued by that sometimes. But if it's coming from like an online thing, it'll be more. Where I'm from usually is something that people find very interesting.
Okay. And that is all we have for this episode. It was great having you here, William, talking about your work on community growth and all things technology and everything else. It's been fabulous.
Thanks for having me. It's been a great experience.
It sure was. And until next time, stay tuned for more.